What is going on, y'all? How are y'all doing today? I'm Mr. G,
I'm Agent X.
I'm the bishop.
and welcome to the Nexus podcast, where we bring together all the media that you love, where we talk about Buffy, Xena, Game of Thrones, and more, with Charmed always being the heart and center of what we do. So, today we're here to talk about just kind of get into Charmed, kind of start talking about it a little bit. And we're going to start off by talking about something Wicca This Way Comes. This is something, this is the start of the series. This is the start of everything. This is where we meet the sisters. This is where we are introduced to the powers. So, what did y'all think of the episode? And what were some things of note for you?
I think it is a very solid pilot episode. Like it got right into it. We know the characterizations of the sisters very quickly, the dynamics between them started very quickly, and I really appreciated that instead of just drawing it out so that we could get right to the magic or right to the point of the show.
One thing I really liked was you got to see Andy and Prue at the beginning, and also getting a little bit of context of him checking up on her while she was with Roger. And in my mind, I really liked their dynamic, so I really enjoy seeing that. I also enjoyed seeing the relationships with the sisters. You can almost immediately see their personalities and how Prue is dominant and Piper is kind of the middle sister, and she wants her sisters to get along, so she withholds stuff. And then you have Phoebe, who's the baby, who's the rebel, and you get to see it play out in that very first episode.
And I think what y'all are saying is what made the episode so great is the fact that they really introduced us to them as opposed to just telling us what the story was going to be. So we really got a chance to see how the characters were connected, even with Andy and Prue. You know, they felt like people that hadn't seen each other in years, but they had a really rich history. So they did a good job. It would have been interesting if they had done something like Andy coming up to the museum to see Prue, when Roger was firing her or whatever, and he just knew something was wrong. I don't know. That would have been a cute little touch, but they still introduced the characters so well. What were some of the highlights, like some of y'all's favorite parts?
I enjoyed seeing Piper and Prue outside of the house, like doing their thing as young working women. I liked seeing Piper going on and doing those audition recipes because, as the show goes on, it's so heavily focused on them just being witches that I enjoyed seeing their lives before they became the Charmed Ones.
And just how excited Phoebe was with, being known as the Charmed Ones. I mean, she was out there screaming in the street. And I was like, well, thank God none of your, neighbors are demons, because now they know you're the Charmed Ones for sure, if they didn't know it before. That's how the shapeshifters found out, because she was outside screaming.
And there was that scene in the pharmacy, and I'm like, Prue, you're talking kind of loud about being a witch and getting powers. People can hear you in the next aisle, right?
Yes. But and what's so interesting about that is I do think there was a certain level of it not meaning anything to them yet, if that makes any sense. Like,
yeah, because Prue and Piper didn't believe Phoebe, so it didn't matter to them. To them, saying that they were a witch amounts to just a little kid saying it. Like, who's gonna believe them?
Yeah. Because I don't think there were any stakes yet. And that's what the difference in something like Charmed and Sabrina the Teenage Witch is like when Sabrina found out she was a witch. I mean, yeah, she turned old girl into a pineapple, and we had to, kind of work through that with her. But as a whole, it was just more so figuring out how to navigate being a teenager with being a witch and like, what am I going to get into today? Whereas with the Charmed Ones, yeah, it's funny games, and it's so funny how I made all the stuff fall off the shelf, and I got a job because I froze the guy. But at the end of the day, we could get killed because of this. So there's that level of danger that I think once it hit them, it was like, okay, we got to be a little bit more together than this.
And I like how you almost immediately, not to jump too far ahead, but when they're fighting the demon, you almost immediately see them go into what we now know as like the three of them coming together to fight a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost
Yeah.
instinctual, like Prue and Piper, and they just fell in line. And Prue, I think she said, "We'll do it together." And it's like we're already there, and we're not even done this episode. I kind of see where this is going to go, and no one had to really teach them that. It was just what they fell into.
And I think that's really what the show is about, and what Constance saw for the show is that because they're sisters first, and it's their sisterhood that gave them those instincts to defeat Jeremy, to come together.
That is so true. That is so, and just kind of going back to the beginning of the episode, I love the fact that witch had the triquetra on her, because I think that set up how important the three of them are. Like the fact that witches have their symbol, tattooed on them, shows that they're not just some ordinary, people. They are coveted in the magical community. And I think that sets up why demons are going to come for them like that, is not just because they're witches, but because there's something special about them even within the magical community.
Right. Because we're talking about centuries old prophecy. And like this is the culmination. Like this is like the main event of the magical community.
Yes.
It's the arrival of the Charmed Ones.
Yes. I mean, imagine growing up hearing stories of, these sister witches that were going to, come, and they were going to fight evil, and they were going to be the strongest force of good, and just kind of looking up to them as like witch superheroes almost. And then getting the chance to exist at the same time as them.
Right.
Like that's why I can imagine like the witches that met them were like, what was her name? Was it Jenna? I was like, girl, are y'all? She was so excited. She was like, wait, y'all sister witches. No, it was her, and then it was Ariel. Ariel was the one that was like, it's you, the three sister witches. And she was, I don't know why I always remember her whispering like that, but I just remember her kind of like speaking in a whisper. I was like, girl, I know you're a ghost, but you got to kick this up some.
Yeah. And not to really jump far ahead, but even Billy, who hadn't been in the magical world at all, had heard of the Charmed Ones.
There had to be like a weekly witch newsletter that went out, because I probably would have started a fan club. Think about it. They are the Avengers of the witch community, the magic community.
Right.
They absolutely are.
The strongest, the fiercest, and they're here, and you get to witness them in real time. And don't let me get a glimpse of them actually doing their thing.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I mean, it felt, and then I think too, the fact that Jeremy had this huge plan to come after them. Like, he didn't just say, okay, well, I'm going to try to get in good with them. No, he had a 6-month-long plan. He was dedicated for 6 months to being with Piper so that he could eventually get access to their powers when they got them. Like, he almost accomplished what Cole fumbled.
I was just getting ready to say, I never really connected or saw the parallels between Jeremy and Piper and Cole and Phoebe. It's like the same plan.
Yeah.
Done twice. And it's actually really, really genius.
It is. And his was even better because he got in before the magic was there. So there was no risk of them finding out, unless Grams found out. But no, she said that she met him at the hospital. So the majority of their time together, Grams was already dead. So he wasn't going to get found out.
And I wonder, like, how long had he been planning this? Because he said that he was waiting for Grams to die.
He sure did. That is true. He sure did. And then too, that kind of ties into something else that I kind of struggle with the show sometimes. I understand that evil is essentially out for themselves, but I know a lot of the time they're trying to gain favor with the source so that they can move up the ranks. So did he let the source know that the charmed ones were alive? Like, I always was curious when the source became aware of their presence, because by like episode 2 and 3, the demons noticed that the charmed ones are here. The shapeshifters across the street who really are nobody are trying to get the Book of Shadows. So we know the charmed ones are here at this point. So I always kind of felt like in my head, Jeremy alerted the source, and so now we can kind of kickstart, going after them. But that makes me wonder, did they know that the Warren witches would culminate in the charmed ones before that? If that makes any sense.
So I just now created a headcanon off of what you just said. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine, to address the Warren witches thing, I would imagine that they knew that the charmed ones would come from the Warren line, but after they moved and all the name changes, it might have gotten lost. And I see Jeremy, like, he's figured out or has a really strong idea that the Hollowells are the charmed ones, and he relays it to the source. He might not tell them that they were the Hollowells, but that he's found the charmed ones, and the source knows that Jeremy is in San Francisco, and so the charmed ones must be there. And when Jeremy fails, that's when he sends in Rex and Hannah to find out who they are. And that's when we get that arc of Rex hiring Prue, trying to follow up on a lead that maybe Jeremy had relayed somehow. And then when they confirm that Prue is the charmed ones, she and her sisters are the charmed ones, then they let the source know. And then that's how the demons start knowing who they are.
Because he pretty much insinuated that he killed those witches to get Phoebe to come home so that they would be together, right? Isn't that I believe that's what he said when Piper confronted him.
I don't remember that part. I don't remember that being a part of what he said.
You killed those witches. I remember, and he said I had to, or something like that.
He said he had to so that he could get their powers.
Yeah, he wanted to get their powers.
Because that was him standing outside the house, correct? Watching them from outside. Remember there was somebody saying
it was at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that he was relaying the messages back. That's where my mind went. That's why he was standing out there.
Yeah. It probably was. And then too, I think another important thing in this is Nicholas, because Nicholas was aware that they were the charmed ones long before anybody else. And I've always been so on the fence about, I understand that their powers were, coveted. Somebody wanted their powers, and that's fine. Even though evil had stronger versions of each one of their powers, but that's neither here nor there. Why the source didn't just go ahead and take them out when they were children? That's what I would have done. Because Nicholas knew where they were. So I'm assuming he didn't tell the source out of some kind of selfish desire to collect their powers and take them to him, without him even asking.
I could see that because Nicholas is more powerful than Jeremy. And so I could see Jeremy just being a sycophant. But we see later on in the series where really in season 4, where warlocks, are thought of as less than demons. So I could see somebody like Jeremy, striking away from that world and trying to get the charmed one's powers for himself.
Because
he's another warlock / demon who got really close to a Halliwell in order to try to take him down. He got close to Patty. She thought that he was Victor, but it seems to be like the plan to go with, and
Yeah, I
like it
mean,
almost works each time.
it does almost work each time. Don't you think about it?
Because I mean, coming at them from that human aspect really is the most effective way to get to them. I mean, Zanku almost took them completely out, like,
Right.
because he came at their emotions instead. Like, and I think that was such a smart move because he knew their emotions would affect their powers. And if he could get them to a weakened emotional state, then I can just come in and do whatever I want to do, which is what he did. So it's interesting to see how it was the same plan kind of done multiple times in multiple ways, but evil sort of has this understanding of good and humans in general that they know a weakness they can exploit.
They know what to exploit, and unfortunately it works 9 out of the 10 times they try
it. Hence them getting kicked out of the manor every 5 minutes.
I mean,
right.
I mean, like, y'all just playing it in Penny's house like this?
Baby, listen. And season 1, episode 1, it's interesting to see them in this house and they feel like they're at home. And I wish that the show would have done a little bit more to make them seem at ease. I mean, uneasy in the house. Like, this is their childhood home, but now it's riddled with demons. Like episode 2 or 3, it would have been nice to see like one of them coming from a hotel or something like that. They'd be like, "Did you go to the hotel again?" And then she's like, "Yeah, I just can't. I don't know if a demon is going to attack. I don't know what's going to happen." And then kind of show how they have to reconnect with the house. And as they're reconnecting with each other, they're having to reconnect with the house. Like, I know that obviously shouldn't have been like a huge plot, but it could have been like an episode long thing.
Yeah,
because the house is such a big part, of their life and their story. I felt like the house probably deserved way more attention to detail, like being a bigger part of the actual story itself. Even going down to like I was going to mention the layout of the house. The layout, the first episode, it's almost like, who the hell house is this? Because it's so different by like, I don't know. To me, the end of the season, the next season, the house is always changing. That first couple of scenes, the house looks drastically different to me.
And in the pilot, they used the real house, and then they switched to the set for like when they went back for filming, right?
Yeah.
Because when that tall neck girl was playing Phoebe, Lori Rom, when she was playing Phoebe, like I just remember watching it and being like, she can't even fit in this kitchen, like, because she's so long and the kitchen was so small, and it just was like the real kitchen is so small, and it just felt like, okay, why are we in here? Because I don't think more than 2 people can fit in here at one time. What are y'all doing?
Oh my, yeah, Lori, she was so tall.
She was. She had the same height dynamic with them that Rose did, where like I don't think Rose towered above them necessarily, but you could tell she was a good deal taller than them, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, because you don't really realize how little the other 2 are until they're like standing next to her. Especially Phoebe is shorter, right? Because she's shorter, I believe.
I think so.
Than Piper.
Yes.
No, Piper is the shortest.
Is she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I think about them in my head, it is. One of my so y'all know the Power of 3 Blondes, when when Phoebe and Piper are standing there talking to Chris in P3, and they're on the stairs. If you watch it, they keep switching heights. Like when they're like front facing, at first, like I think Piper is a little taller than Phoebe, but then when they show them from the back, they're the same height. And then again, like Alyssa is taller. Like, I don't know what that was about. And maybe I could have been having some kind of like brain hemorrhage.
But you know what? They were probably switching shoes like they did something Wicca This Way Goes.
In the basement.
Switching shoes. Yeah.
Baby, when
My
Phoebe had them
girl,
kitten heels on, and
she
then
went
she got
from-
thrown back and she had them tennis shoes on, and I said, wait a minute.
she like had wedges on when she ran down there, and then now
Yes.
she got on tennis shoes.
Yes. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are we doing? Because this don't make sense.
At that point, they were just trying to save money, I guess.
It's like we cannot shoot this again, so it's gonna have to stay in there.
And speaking of Phoebe and no budget, are we gonna discuss the fact that in episode 1 they have Phoebe riding a bicycle down the street?
I wrote a note to myself that said, "Phoebe on this bike, please." When she was riding that damn bike.
Why is my Phoebe Hallowell riding down the street on a bike?
And then
because if she did, she gonna have to walk.
She ain't got no car. Did she even have her license when she came back?
Oh no. I don't know if she had her license when she bought that car in season 4 or 5.
I don't think we've ever seen any of them. I guess we're just supposed to assume that she has a license. She ain't have a job, so never mind. I just didn't know if she had a license. She rode that bike and then she tried to save them people, and the way she slid that bike on that ground. I'm sorry. I laughed.
Listen, season 1, episode 1 is funny, but season 1 in itself is hilarious because like the way that they could have benefited from having a white lighter this early. Think about the fact it is episode 1 of this show that is about to start a legacy that people are still going to be talking about for the next 30 years. And one of the charmed ones has to go to the hospital because she got hurt. And it's the one that don't have no health insurance. So you telling me that now I'm not only am I a protector of good, but you telling me that I have to get a job at some point so I can get health insurance? Like, where was Leo at? Leo, don't get me started. Okay, I'm gonna save Leo because Leo was not a good white lighter, but I'm a hush.
Listen, my theory is half of the stuff that's happened to them is his fault. So
definitely.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
Why are there episodes where like the girls, Prue and the girls, are having to educate you on stuff that you should already know?
Yes.
White
yes.
lighter.
And my biggest thing still just remains the fact that like my girls were having to go to the hospital. The episode when with the dream sorcerer, there is no reason that Prue should not have been able to call for her white lighter, and he ordered her safely back to the manor, and she has to get into a car accident and go to the hospital. Like what?
They should have knew about the white lighters day one.
Mm-hmm.
When they read that spell and the book, everything lit up. They should have been something that came down, and here is your white lighter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because Leo knew. I mean, if he was watching them forever, he knew.
Yeah, he did. He knew when they became witches, and I think what should have happened was what they could have done. I'm not saying this should have. What they could have done was have them read about white lighters and then get curious why they don't have one, and then find out that like the person that was assigned, the one that was assigned to them, is missing, and so now that's why their guide wasn't there, because their guide couldn't be there because evil was trying to, put their finger in the bottle real quick and like stop them from being able to grow and stop them from having a guide where they would just have to figure it out. And then it explains why Leo didn't show up in any real white lighter capacity until the middle to end of the season. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Or we could have seen them trying to like call for a white lighter or figure out how to get him here. Mm-hmm. And then he's not here. And now we got to figure out why he's not here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That would have been amazing. And like, no, that's too early for that. Because I was gonna say that was when they could have started like writing spells and they're trying to like piece one together. But I'm like, nah. I think I like the fact that it was later on that they started writing spells, because if they just knew they could do it from the beginning, they would have just been cutting up.
I mean, because we already saw Phoebe going after the lottery. And also, I think it's unfair that she got that vision.
Yes, very much so. And then she can't even do anything about it. What did y'all give it to me for? Because, see, me, I'm hateful. And if you think that I'm going to give it to Esther and Jack over there, who's going to die next week, and you think I'm going to give them The lottery? No, ma'am.
Right.
I'm giving them the wrong numbers.
I sure am.
Right. How you expect to give someone the winning lottery numbers and them to not play it?
Please, we can play it together.
Exactly.
I'm getting some of this money.
We're gonna give you this vision. We're gonna show you the treasure map. We're gonna show you exactly where to go, but don't go down there.
Why didn't we pick up early on that the elders and the white letters weren't, you know what, and all they wanted to do was manipulate and toy with him? I should have picked up on that by the end of the first season. Why would you send her that? For what?
Good magic is a joke. I would never, like, if you paid me $1 million to be good in the Charmed universe, I wouldn't do it.
No.
You have to put your life on the line and you get nothing in return.
But beat up and possibly killed.
That's it. That's
right.
it. You get nothing in return other than that.
I would only save the people I want to save when I want to save them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only saving on Tuesdays between 2 and 3.
That's it.
Look at my office hours.
Like, you couldn't even get a gift bag.
Like, okay. You can't even get a membership to the Joint Chiropractic. Like, what? Like, what is going on?
Like, I don't have a HMO. Like, nothing.
They don't even have they ain't got Medicaid.
Well, and see, that also leads me to question what a regular witch's duty is, because I was always just a tap confused on whether, like, saving innocence was something that all good witches do, or if this was something that primarily has been put on the charmed ones, because I think it was an all good witches thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, they should have explored that more, because anytime we saw any other witches, it was mostly like a plot line of them like in a store or doing some kind of ritual, but never really doing anything else.
And interestingly, a lot of the time we would meet other witches, they would be innocents that the charmed ones had to save.
Right.
I guess the charmed ones are like, I don't know, what would you call them? The archangels of the angels? They just do the fighting and the killing, just them?
Right. And well, I guess they are expected to fight evil because, like, they have a no personal gain law. So, like, if you don't, like, what do you have magic for?
Because what about old girl with the amulet? There was the girl, I can't think of her name, with Cole and the girl in the amulet. So she had the necklace that could protect her. I'm thinking, well, why else would you have that unless you were, doing stuff that could potentially get you killed?
Yeah. And then the girl, Vivian, the one that had the power of deflection, and it was supposedly like a witch's most powerful, tool against evil. Like, I'm assuming she was supposed to be fighting demons.
I guess we'll never know.
She seemed to be pretty, like she was using it a lot. So I guess she was. She was ready for Ames.
When she looked at him and she was like, I can deflect your power. I said, oh, yes, ma'am. I said, yes, ma'am. She was bold with it, too. She was like, baby, listen. She said, you can try it, but honey, I promise you, it ain't going to work.
And look what happened to my good sis.
And then she was so dramatic. Like, he when he like started grabbing, she was like, oh, I was a girl. Come on, shut up. Hush. Now, I know I should have been on that lady's side because she was getting killed, but I'm like, ma'am, shut up.
I mean, at that point, just give up and be quiet. I'm looking at all these notes that I wrote on this episode, and one thing I did like was when Phoebe and Piper were in the bedroom and they were talking about Prue sacrificing herself, and then I need a sister, not a mom. And Prue literally walked in with the blanket and was like, this was the coldest room in the house. I said, even though it shows that even when she's not really fond of her or a fan of her, at the core of who she is, she really does care about her sisters, even the one that gives her their to kiss. But I liked how Piper mentioned it, although Phoebe did kind of joke about it. So you see that, like, Phoebe's the baby, so that doesn't really matter to her. That Prue sacrificed a lot, but Piper, being the middle sister, being a little bit older, who lived through it, I liked that she had more perspective on things sometimes than the baby sister did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all Phoebe knew were the benefits. She didn't see the
Yes.
struggle where Piper could. She would see the struggle and benefited from it.
Mm-hmm.
My
Because
girl
she
couldn't
had
even
to
get a
help
little bit of
sometimes herself. So
Yeah, and especially because Piper and Prue always had that close relationship because like they bonded even before Phoebe was born.
mm-hmm.
there was that scene where like Prue was going to the basement and Phoebe was going upstairs, and for a moment Piper was a little conflicted about where to go,
Mm-hmm.
and then she said, "Well, Prue, wait." And I'm thinking, I probably, if you feel that strongly about the attic, I probably would have went with Phoebe to the attic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you kind of
Yeah.
see that early on, that dilemma of her always having to feel like she has to pick between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. Because I think when Prue was there was more of it's not till you really go back and watch it, you kind of see that Piper and Phoebe really are like a little duo. They really are a little duo. Just the same way she follows Prue around.
Mm-hmm.
You would be forgiven for thinking that Phoebe was older than Piper because of the way she takes the lead sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I think about the Miss Hellfire episode when Phoebe is like, okay, we got to get her to use her power. And Piper's like, so there can be two of her? No, thank you. And it's like, Phoebe was always the one that was willing to take more risks, even when with her and Piper was more, I'm just going to step back and then whatever happens, happens. But I think that came from her always having proof. So it's like, she didn't have to take a risk because she knew she was going to have someone there for her. So it's really interesting to me that you bring up that dynamic, because it's one of those things where it's like, when I think about like Phoebe and Paige and how they're always together, there are a lot of times where Piper and Phoebe are like that.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
it can kind of feel like sometimes that Prue and Paige not iced out, but almost like iced out a little bit because they're their own little unit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying because they're close in age.
Yeah. And I wonder, like when we're talking about, Piper being conflicted and then picking Prue, I wonder if that's why, like later after Prue died and she would have to pick between Phoebe and Paige, she always picked Phoebe because she never really had that chance to, like subconsciously, that she always had to pick like Prue over Phoebe because of their bond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now she finally gets to pick Phoebe, and poor Paige just got.
I mean, and I kind of understand it. Like, I hate to say it, I'm an only child, so I don't really get it. But if you're the person I've been with my whole life, I'm probably going to pick you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Although the one time that Piper was faced with that choice and she made the choice and it worked out perfectly, I didn't see where her plan was going. I thought she was just picking her to pick her. But you kind of get into the mindset of, well, I've had Phoebe with me my whole life. Like, why wouldn't I pick her?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I never realized the amount of confidence that Piper had to have had in Paige for her to not think, but know that Paige would remember that spell to cast it. I have never, like, until y'all were talking about that, it never really hit me. Like, Piper put a lot of confidence in her in that moment, and she really invested in Paige's ability, because she could have very easily just been like, yeah, give me my sister back and then y'all can do whatever y'all want to do with her. But she knew Paige was would remember this because she knew Paige was capable, she was smart, she like, okay,
At
you know
point,
what, that episode is definitely more emotional than I thought it was. Okay.
At that point they were pretty much equal. They were peer to peer at that point. At that point,
Yeah,
Paige had got to the point where, honestly, I mean, with her other abilities, she really could go it alone most of the time if she needed to.
And she had to at that point because Piper was pregnant. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Because they had that whole lead witch battle thing.
She was picking up the slack.
And doing a damn good job.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
They put that lady through it. They put Wyatt's incubator through it that episode. My God.
I mean, first off, her and what's his face just in there doing battle and nobody getting tired.
Cole.
I could do this
Yeah.
all day.
Mhm.
I like what Pecker
Cole.
said, but wait, there's more.
Think about
Cole
episode
Wyatt,
1
though.
Piper hitting Jeremy in the head with a wood plank, doing something like that. There's no way. There's no way.
And her reflexes that
not
episode,
mousy.
that first
Not
episode,
mousy
Piper
Piper.
was actually really with, like, I'm not being funny. She was really with it. She responded in that moment as someone who was prepared for that moment, and we know that they weren't. She got that thing. She knocked him out. I mean, what frustrated me was that he was frozen for a few minutes, and you just kind of stood there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you probably could have got out of there already.
I think, but even in that, the only reason I'm gonna get at Ladies and Grace is I can understand why she felt trapped, because it's like, okay, I'm in this weird building. I don't know where I'm at. I'm in this little thing, this man. And then the fact that she was able to knock a warlock out with a piece of wood lets you know the warlocks in the beginning wasn't nothing. Like season 4, Piper probably would have blown him up and wouldn't have thought nothing about it. Like it wouldn't even have been a thought in her mind. She would have moved right on past it. But like in the beginning, these demons getting knocked out by wood planks. Like what?
It was almost like, that's all you got?
Well, I mean, these are the same demons that had to run across town. I don't know if he couldn't have caught a cab. That means this man ran.
And he was running all slow. I'm going to get you, B. And he was running, please.
Yeah, with his pants, with that wedgie. And I'm like, you telling me that evil got to run across town? This man got to get in his Skechers and he got to run from one side of San Francisco to the other one. We were in the trenches. Trenches.
And think about it, because it took him a while to do that spell. It took him that whole time, and by the time they got done, he was right downstairs.
Right.
And I love when they did it, and Piper was like, "There, the spell is complete." I don't know why that always took me. It's little moments like that always took me. She's like, "The spell is complete."
I like when Phoebe had her premonition, and Prue was like, "How do you know?" And he was like, you touched it and you saw
that
it?
is my favorite. That is my favorite part of the episode. She's like, I saw him. And she's like, Prue, what's so funny about that moment is they have had a day where Prue has almost unalived a man with magic. Piper has almost died. And Phoebe almost died. And Prudence looks this woman in the face and says, you touched the pot and you saw Jeremy. Bro, is that the weirdest thing that's happened today?
Like, you just knocked over everything in the pharmacy. We just did a whole potion spell in this thing. It smoked, but me touching it and seeing it is where you draw the line, huh?
And I think that goes to show their relationship. Like, even when she knew something happened, because it was Phoebe, she felt like she still had to go back and question.
You're such a liar.
Yeah.
Because there was no reason. There was no reason in this world for her to have asked her.
She just didn't want to F with her at that point.
That's all it was.
You saw it? Please, stop lying.
Like, stop lying, silly girl.
You silly goose. Because I'm like, okay, wait. Prudence, you can't be for real right now. You know that this girl sees stuff in her head. And you look up and say, you touched the pot and you saw Jeremy. I would have said, no, I smelled him. Girl, come on.
I don't know. Maybe she was too afraid to admit that Jeremy was still alive. She didn't want to question that. She wanted to be done with Jeremy in this episode.
And we were talking earlier, and I was kind of curious to see, because I still don't understand like what the point of that spell was supposed to be. Like, what was it supposed to accomplish? Because what if Jeremy had been human and he's standing in line at Kroger's and then he just gets thorns just coming out of him? Like, is it because she was powerful as a charmed one because they used the power 3, which I don't think they technically did, but all 3 of them were together, and there was always this weird thing where it could work if they were together, whatever. But like, I was just curious to know what you thought about that.
Playing the scene back in my mind.
Well, I don't really think that the spell worked the way it should, because Jeremy wasn't in love with her. So I
Okay.
don't. So it's hard to say like what the spell would have done if it had been successful.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then I always wondered too, was she supposed to put the rose thorn in the poppet? Because I kind of felt like they were just supposed to like go in together, but pushing it in was like, if this is like a voodoo doll, the equivalent of like a voodoo doll, don't they need like
Right.
freaking this baby with it? So I don't know.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about the words of the spell, and that's what I was gonna say. There was really no love there, so all y'all
Yeah.
did was pretty much like piss him off and turn him into like Godzilla with spikes.
And I'm looking it up now, and the name of the ritual is to lose a love forever.
Mm.
And so I
You know
guess it
what?
would. I
Could
guess
it?
it
Could
was
it?
either supposed to kill a lover or keep them away, prevent them from ever coming back to them.
It seemed
But
like it took away his humanity. So I don't know what that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
is that the thing that he loved? I don't know what he loved because it seemed like if that was the case, why would it then just transform him like that?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think there was an effect of probably her putting the rose into the puppet, and also the backfire of him not loving her, and
Mm-hmm.
also because of the birthday candle that Phoebe used instead of a real
Mm.
Oh,
candle.
didn't think
So
about
maybe it
that.
didn't have its full effect. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't think about that.
Me neither. I did not think about that. That is a very good point. That's a very, very good point. And hmm, that is wow. So it just seemed like it was a lot that came together maybe in that one moment that kind of messed the spell up.
Right. And then them being new witches,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
their first spell should have failed anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
like, because they don't know how to do a ritual, because a ritual is complex, and they
Mm-hmm.
messed it up.
And you know what? Somebody I was talking to one time, they kind of brought up a good point about how their powers manifested at first and how, they hadn't had them since they were children. In Phoebe's case, she never really had them. And how they kind of came in pieces, but then powerful at the same time. So like with Prue, she's subconsciously using her power while she's using her hands. And
Mm-hmm.
then Phoebe was kind of patching a premonition in, like it started coming in pieces and then was just like bam. And then, she got a premonition twice in the same episode. And then Piper with the freezing, it's like hers, there wasn't going to be like a grand display anyway, but just the fact that it was like in such a significant moment. And Chef Moore stayed frozen for a good amount of time. He was not
Mm-hmm.
just like one and done. He was frozen for like 20 minutes. She had time to go down the street and go get some more wine if she wanted to. like this man was frozen. So it's like
And I
it's
wonder if because he stayed frozen longer than Jeremy, and I'm assuming it's tied into her emotion. She was more afraid with Jeremy because he wasn't frozen very long at all.
mm-hmm.
And then like
Yeah.
And
Prue
then
used her
too,
power from another room,
Jeremy.
which we hadn't really seen. Like she did what she did to what's this Roger from another room.
Mm-hmm,
Right.
And
mm-hmm,
it's
she
like
sure
now
did.
and at the when she was doing the coffee and the thing just moved over towards her. And I'm thinking, did it ever really happen for her like that again? Where she didn't even look over there. It just came to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing with the
Right.
coffee, when she did the thing with the coffee, I'm thinking that's not actually even what her power ended up looking like. But it was
Yeah.
cool to see how they did it that first episode to make it stand out like it's really happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's something that kind of carried on through the series when the sisters would develop a new power where it
Mm-hmm.
starts out like really strong and then it kind of mellows out. Like when Piper first started blowing things up, the explosives were kind of bigger. He was blowing up upper level demons like the dude from the Brotherhood. the the Banshee, and then it's kind of started to level out. And when Prue first astral projected, she did it like 3 or 4 times in one day. Same with Phoebe and her when she levitated.
Yeah.
And when she had her empathy, she was like feeling more people than she typically would later in the season. And she was able, and the way she was able to channel Piper's powers when she was a Valkyrie, she never really did that again. She more or less like redirected their powers later in the season, where she actually channeled Piper's telekinesis and was able to use it on her own.
And I think another thing when you said that, I don't know what you said that made me start thinking about this, but just in the same way, Piper is the first one that we see fight a demon on the episode. Phoebe is the first one in the series that we see save an innocent. And that is just so interesting. Like Phoebe's power innately, was going to be surrounding how to help innocents. But, she was willing to put her life on the line. Like if my girl had got hit by the car the wrong way or had gotten run over by it, that was going to be a wrap. She was going to be with Paige's parents. And it's so interesting. She was going to meet Mr. and Mrs. Matthews ahead of time. But she didn't just stop him or say, hey, get out of the way or whatever. Like Phoebe physically went and put herself in harm's way to save them.
She didn't even think about it. She didn't
even think about it. And it's like, this is the same person that Prue would have us believe is just this screw up who really should have just stayed where she was at. And not saying that as a knock towards Prue. It's just the show did a good job of showing us like Prue's perception versus Phoebe's reality. So, Prue is seeing her as this delinquent, whatever. But in reality, she's willing to do what needs to be done. And it's just like that sets the tone for Phoebe through the show. But Piper fighting that demon for the first time, being the first one we see go up against the demon. I don't know what to make of that.
She wasn't no punk either. She wasn't. She was scared, but she wasn't no punk.
She wasn't. She was not. It almost makes me feel like this is why she didn't want to do it. Like she got a little taste of it and was like, if you think that I'm going to do this every single day of my life, then you are out of your last mind.
Right. Could you imagine if they had given Piper a passive power? It would not have worked.
Oh no, they would have taken her out first. There's no way. And I mean that. Like season 1 Piper, if she had gotten permanent, that would have been a wrap. I'm sorry.
First of all, if Piper had gotten premonition, she never would have told them.
No, she would have kept it to herself.
She'd have been down at cooking food. Ain't see a thing.
She'd be like, she'll see a demon attacking some innocent. Like, oops, that's the hiccup.
And listen, I'm not knocking her because if I had the premonition power, I wouldn't be telling y'all a damn thing either. I'm gonna put my life on the line to save some people that don't know me and wouldn't save me. I don't got health insurance. I'm not getting a paycheck, and I could get killed.
Okay. And it's funny because it's like we talk about Piper, we joke, whatever. Truly, I could see Piper being the POV character because I promise you, I wouldn't want to do any of that either. I don't want to be a part of it. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Don't ask me no questions. Don't ask me to fight. I ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
But the girl said, get somebody else to do it.
Get somebody else to do it, because honey, not I.
We joke, I joke, but I would be like Piper. I'm not doing it. Yeah. I don't care. You can't make me. I'm grown. What you gonna do to me if I don't? Because I get it. It's fun to drag and troll because putting yourself in the shoes of like Prue or Phoebe or Paige, I would be pissed off as a sibling. But if I was her, I'd be feeling the same exact way. I'm not doing any of this. Like you can't be selfish when there's 2 other people. Because you being a little selfish could get them killed. That goes for all three of them.
Yeah.
Right. What's so wild is like with the personal gain rule, like why would anyone even want to be a witch if you can't even use the magic for whatever you want?
Oh, I
Like,
wouldn't want to be a good. There's no way. Like you can't tell me.
like
That's why I know in that evil universe, baby. I know them new witches were cutting up. I know they were showing out when they first got them powers, baby. I know that lottery. The only reason Phoebe probably didn't have the money in that universe is because she blew it all. Because there is no way that the evil charmed ones were not cutting up with them powers. No.
because I would have gave them powers up quick if I couldn't use them for personal gain.
Not gave
Because
up.
yeah,
You can take it back.
because
You can take it back.
because all they do is draw demons to you.
That is true. That is true. And then you can't even use them to get a stain out your shirt. But you telling me that I'm supposed to run out of my way to go vanquish a demon, but then I'm gonna get in trouble if I try to take some spaghetti out of my shirt. Okay.
Look, I'm at the nail salon getting the manicure, and a fight break out with some demons. I'm supposed to stop getting my gel manicure to go and fight them.
Mhm.
Please,
I would
please.
I would have started a witches union, and then we would have got together, told the elders either we could use these powers for personal gain, or we're gonna give them to the demons.
You know
Oh,
what? I like a good leverage. I like that.
yes. Come
Because you
on.
didn't give me these powers, actually.
Okay. Yes. No, absolutely. Because sometimes they made it seem like, oh, it's just that they were born with them. They're their powers. But then other times the elders got dominion over their powers. And I'm like, okay, now which one is it? Somebody needs to tell me something. Because if
Yeah.
it's innate to them, then the elders shouldn't have nothing to say about it. You can't govern magic like that.
Unless you're the
Yeah,
one
which is
doling out the powers.
right. And with the season 6 or when Phoebe lost her powers, yeah, I didn't agree with that because of that reason. I would see maybe levitation and empathy. Yeah, you could take those away, but they don't have the right to take away their warring power, their birthright.
Mm-hmm. 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 Like you can, like you said, like take away the astral projection, whatever. Take away the levitation. You got it. But if it's something that Melinda Warren, it came from her, that shouldn't. No, that's not how that
Right.
should work.
Like those powers are in their blood.
Yeah, because even with the exploding power, was that the one that Leo was like they wouldn't have given it to you if you weren't ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Because I was so confused because I'm like, okay, now I need to understand, because even when in Bride and Gloom, when Prue went missing and they were scared that she might have been dead, Leo was like, no, they would have felt that. What does that even mean? But then I assume that because it's the power of 3, it's such a strong collective of good magic and they're so tied to good magic that must be why they felt it or would have felt it.
I could see that something like the power of 3 being broken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like when they broke their bond, when they fought each other, like they was like the elders was able to feel that. Like, yeah, I could see that. Like
Mm-hmm.
the destruction of the power of 3 is something that would send waves out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it would just have a ripple effect and everybody go.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like in Buffy when the first was coming, and everybody, they were like, oh, everybody's tails are twitching, we know something is happening, and like all the demons were trying to get out of Sunnydale because they knew something was coming. Yeah.
When we get to Xena, it's kind of like what they call the twilight of the gods, where a child is coming that's prophesied to like be the end of all of Mount Olympus. And so when the child comes, there's like this signal that just goes out automatically that they know the child is here and now the end is coming.
Oh, but see, you got me wanting to watch Xena. I need to watch this show now because that is such an interesting premise. Because in my mind, what ended up happening is they had like an all alerts bulletin, and they were like, whoever gets to him first or her first, take them out. Just
Mm-hmm.
you get there first, take them on out. Cause
Anybody, it's a free for all. Just everybody tag, and if you get them out, you win.
mm-hmm. Baby, I need to find that. I don't know where they play Xena at, but I have got to watch that show because that is so interesting.
Do you have if you have a DVD player, I actually own the whole series. I could always send it to you to watch if you can't find it to stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it to stream, and then I may take you up on that because, baby, listen, that sounds like that's my kind of carrying on.
And it's like Charmed and Buffy. You know, those first couple of seasons with these shows, they're so dated that if you didn't watch it in the beginning, it's hard to get into that first season. But if you stick with it, now the timelines are crazy because they put Xena everywhere. They put her in Rome with Julius Caesar. She's low-key fighting in the Christian war. Like, she's all over the place. But the storylines are really, really deep. Like seasons 2 through 4, you will love. 5 and 6 weren't even supposed to happen. 4 was supposed to be the end of the show, and you'll kind of see how that plays out in the show. It wasn't supposed to keep going. And so she got pregnant, which then made a whole season kind of just be Xena's pregnant, so everybody else is doing all the fighting but her. But then when they come back around and they tie in the Twilight, I think you'll really enjoy that and the way it plays out. Because like with Charmed, it's literally like they'll show Mount Olympus and the baby's being born, and then like Mount Olympus starts shaking. The gods are immediately scared. They know that the child has been born.
See, that's right up my alley. And I remember I used to watch episodes of Xena, but it wasn't enough for me to like remember it, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't enough for me to go back and be like, I remember this storyline. I remember Gabrielle. I remember her having a baby, but I didn't remember the baby being significant. I just remember her getting pregnant.
Well, I don't want to ruin it for you, but dark-sided is what it is. Dark-sided.
Not dark-sided.
But I'm excited because go ahead.
I used to watch Xena and Hercules growing up.
I
need to watch it too.
I remember watching some of Hercules.
So we started out with Hercules, and then Xena kind of came out, and we kind of like we're actually good with Hercules. No, thank you. Because they introduce her on Hercules.
Yeah,
the villain, and she's also the replacement. She wasn't even the original actor for Xena. The actor got hurt, so then Lucy got the gig, and I'm actually so thankful because I don't think I would have been so into it if it wasn't Lucy doing it.
That is so interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, me neither.
It was another young woman, and I believe she got hurt. Either she got hurt or she got hurt and she couldn't go forward with the project. So Lucy got it, and I'm excited for you to watch it because I'm committing to doing Buffy over the right way. Because I feel like I struggled that first like 6-8 episodes just to get through that first season. Because in my mind, I'm like, all this is going on right underneath the high school. Ain't nobody got a clue. Are you serious?
Yeah. Buffy is a dark-sided version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch to me, where like I keep bringing Sabrina up for a reason, but anyway.
I love Sabrina.
That was my show.
Sabrina is my emotional support witch.
Oh yeah, I love me some Sabrina, child. Back in the cut, I was obsessed with Zelda and Hilda.
I was gonna say, which Ann is your favorite?
Okay, so it's actually I can't pick. It's both of them for different reasons. Because Zelda was just like Miss Uppity. I'm not gonna do this, but I loved her magic. It was purple. I don't know what it was about it, but it just drew me in. But I love that she was like the responsible anchor, and she wasn't scared to be the bad guy. Like, yeah, girl, I told you we're not doing that. It's cute that you want to, whatever the case may be. I know you're young, I know you whatever, but I'm not doing that. And then Hilda, of course, everybody knows why you love Hilda. She's the fun-loving aunt. And then the fact that her magic was so like dangerous, like this sitting up here like blowing stuff up just about. And I'm like, girl, bring it down. But I can't pick between the two of them. I would have to say I loved Zelda just a little bit more though, because I feel like she spoke to that rigid person that I actually am on the inside. Like even her letting loose seemed calculated. Like she had to think about how she was going to let loose. And I just, I don't know. I was thinking the other day about
It's the same. Zelda's my favorite. I mean, I love them both, but Zelda was always my favorite.
Yeah. I love me some Zelda. And then Amanda. Oh God, I loved Amanda. And then I remember.
Oh, that little terrorist.
She was horrible. And I remember when she first came on the scene and she did something to Sabrina. And Zelda, like, I don't think Zelda was trying to read Sabrina, but she low-key did. She was like, she was powerful enough to do that all the way from the other realm. You sure you want to babysit her? And I was like, girl, Miss
Zelda could be kind of snippy when she wanted to be. She could read the girls down.
She could. I was like, oh my God.
Then
they had Julia Sugarbaker's cousin on there being married to Mr. Kraft, and I said, okay, we couldn't have.
I cannot believe that Hilda and Zelda were fighting over Mr. Kraft.
Mr. Kraft.
Like, why would anybody fight over Kraft mac and cheese? Please.
And then the fact that, like, not Zelda, but Hilda didn't even necessarily want him. She was just mad because he wanted Zelda more than her.
Right.
And my thing is, why would you want to go after a man that was with your sister?
That part. Who that? I was like, okay, we couldn't.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I love my girls.
Sabrina, I think I love Sabrina so much because Sabrina had elements of every single supernatural show that we're talking about to some extent. It's like, it was Buffy because she's in high school and it really kind of don't make no sense and nobody can figure this out, but they can't, because I know for sure people were seeing stuff and whatever else, but it was like, okay, whatever, all this weird stuff started happening when she got here, but we just gonna move on. We ain't got nothing to say. It's that charmed situation.
Although, like, by the time they graduated, I think everyone knew. They just agreed not to say anything.
Yeah, because it's kind of like what Buffy. By the time Buffy graduated, everyone knew that she was. They didn't know what she was, but they knew she was the stuff, and they were like, "Okay, girl, whatever." And then, like, literally, they had to be involved at that point because the whole graduation episode. But it. Let me hush. Let me just be quiet because I'm gonna get to talking about this and I'm gonna get off on a tangent, child, because I love these shows so much.
So we listen. The way you go for Buffy is the way I go for Xena. When I tell you, Xena is like, it's in my DNA. I could talk Xena all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's me with Smallville. Oh my goodness, I love that show so much.
That's another one I said I was going to rewatch again as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit older and get into it because I didn't really give it a real go before.
Yeah.
Is my man's not on Smallville?
He was in it the 4th season, and then he went to Supernatural.
Well, then I'm gonna definitely have to get back into Smallville. Shout out to my man Jensen.
It's always my man.
Exactly. I don't play about that one. Not that one. Jensen. Never mind. Yes, Jensen Ackles. I'll leave it at that. I don't need no litigation, no lawsuit.
Eric Brady.
Because I was about to rename him like I usually do when no one's listening.
I was just gonna say I was so shocked when they used Jensen when they had a flashback of Eric on Days of Our Lives.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, it was a few weeks ago.
Now I feel like that's
actually genius.
I feel like that's really genius because it's not that there's an age gap, but there's an age gap between who he was then versus how old he is now. And whenever they do like flashback scenes of people, they always use like some kind of stand-in whatever because they have to. That's a good idea. I like that.
Although I think they should just use flashbacks of whichever actor was in the role at that time anyway, because like the viewers know the deal. Like it could be like a gag. Like I don't think people would care that much. Like, and
it could kind of be like the Beckys from Roseanne.
Yeah, I mean, because we kind of have to suspend belief that these different actors are the same person anyway. So you might as well use the flashbacks of the other actor.
Because, listen, me and James, me and Agent X, me and everybody love us some soap operas. Do you understand me? And
I come from a soap home. So my mom, God bless her, my grandmother, who's gone on, they have been watching The Young and the Restless longer than I've been alive. I have been watching Victor Newman be dark-sided since I came out the womb.
And he is still cutting up.
Still full of hell. I'm like, are you still down there acting like this in front of these people? He sure is.
He
watch every day, 12:30. I hear the little, I call it the Mary J. Blige theme song. It comes on. And I've been checking in every now and then. You know, my girl from Grey's Anatomy, she loves soaps. So she's always on, I think, General Hospital.
Yeah, Miranda Bailey.
Yeah, my Bailey. She's always on there.
Chandra Wilson, yeah.
And which is the one that has Patty and Wyatt on it acting a fool?
General Hospital.
I saw some scene. Did she stab him or tase him or shoot him or something?
For good reason.
Yeah.
I said, no, wait a minute, Patty, what's going on?
When I tell you that he was one of the most hated characters in soaps,
he was a menace.
They was ready to run him out of there. Like the fans.
What you're saying was it's Evil Wyatt that showed up?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very much evil.
It took Patty to shut him down?
Not even.
Because
it was for
an accurate statement.
Where's they should have called Penny. She ain't doing nothing.
Speaking of which, Victor, he was on Days of Our Lives.
And he was on General Hospital too for a little while.
Yeah, he was.
That's right. Because I happen to love. I'm drawing a blank. What is the woman's name who plays Patricia? I can't think of her name.
Finola Hughes.
I love her. I just love her in general. So I would usually watch a couple of her scenes on the soaps just because she seems like such a nice, sweet woman.
Yeah. And it's funny because I didn't know she was British or English, whatever. And when I found out that she was, this was some years ago. When I found out that she was, I was like, oh, that's why she would say vanquish, because she was trying. She's like, listen, I'm trying to suppress this. Y'all just gonna get what you get at this point. Either I'm gonna say a word the way you don't want me to, or something. Y'all are gonna have to be okay, because baby, no.
Well, whenever she would try to say mom, and she would say mum.
She was like, it was, wait, because this is my favorite one. When she's like, it was after your father and I together when I was with Sam. And I was like, when you were with who? Say it again, one more time. Say it a little slower. With who?
Can you please?
I said, not Sam.
If you had to recommend a soap for someone who's a non-soap watcher to get into, what would you recommend?
It would definitely be between Days and General Hospital, because I could not in good conscience recommend anyone watch Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh God.
My cousin used to make me watch Passions with her. Now that was some really off the wall stuff. Yeah. I remember a scene where one was coming through a bedroom door with a chainsaw. In like a ball gown, I think.
Passion, anything could happen. Passion, and anything did happen.
What the hell is going on?
Wasn't that what Piper was watching when Victor brought that demon woman to their house when she was about to give
because
birth?
they were watching Tabitha and Timmy, huh? Oh, was Timmy?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think they was watching Passions.
I think so. I do think so. And because didn't one of them make a joke about like that spell wouldn't work or something like that?
Yeah, because it was Piper who said it.
I was like, oh, okay.
Have me watching soap operas.
If I had to pick one, I think Days of Our Lives is probably the easiest to follow, because this may seem like a small thing, but when it comes to soap operas, trust me, it's a big thing. Days of Our Lives does a good job of telling you how people are related. Like,
Okay.
you don't have to, you may watch it for a little while, but at some point, someone is going to say my cousin or
Right.
this or
Or
my,
if
yeah,
or if it's Eric and Brady, my brother,
my brother. Yes.
Okay.
And
they
there's
You don't
can't
want to
one,
be
be
like,
in
oh
a
my.
scene together without one of them mentioning their brothers.
that their brothers, my God, they could go to eat ice cream and they'll be like, yeah, I'm so glad I get to be here with my brother. And it's like, you're just eating Rocky Road ice cream. Calm down. Like, simmer down.
Like,
But
this is Salem. Everyone knows.
everybody knows y'all are brothers. Let's, but
And I think they are probably the best at showing the relationships between the two family members.
yes.
Like, they actually feel like they're in the same family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How long has they been? I'm looking them up now. See how long they've been on. Probably like 95 years.
1965, I think. I think they've been on.
Oh.
So yeah, 'cause it's 58 because they got renewed for 2 years to take them to the 60th.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good. Good.
I'm seeing here. So they have 58 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Because it's like the others. Okay, if you watch Young and the Restless, unless it's certain people, you're not gonna know that they're related. Because you
Yeah.
could watch it for probably 6 months and never know that Abby was Victoria or Nick's sister. You wouldn't know it because they don't act like it. They don't say it. They don't. They're
Yeah,
barely.
they don't interact
Yeah.
because has Abby said 2 words to Victoria or Nick this year or Adam?
Not that I can think of. Not off the
It's
top of my head.
wild that Adam interacts with the Newmans more than Abby when
Yes.
Adam is the black sheep
Yes.
that
And
no
they.
one likes. And they finally got to a good place with Abby. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but she barely interacts with the Abbotts.
It's funny watching. It's funny watching like Kyle and Ashley in a scene together because he calls her Ashley, and so like
Yeah.
one day I was like, "Why is he hollering at her like that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's his aunt." Because at first I couldn't even remember why they were in the house together, and I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And they all live
Yeah.
together because these rich people have no money to get a place to live, and they depending on the day, depending on what they're trying to do, they do a good job of
Yeah.
reminding you, but not really. Bold and the Beautiful. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let me say this.
Is that the one? Which is the one that Susan Lucci was on? That
was All My Children.
All My Children. Okay, never mind.
Bold and the Beautiful, to me, the only time that they stress how you are related to another person is when they're about to do something, if that makes any sense. So it's not like we're just sitting down for a cup of coffee and I'm like, I'm so glad to be here with my sister. No, it's like we've been in scenes together for the past 2 years and I've never even hinted at the fact that we're family, but now you're about to you're planning a hostile takeover of my company, and all of a sudden out of the blue for no reason whatsoever, I'm just like, I'm so proud to have you as my sister. You are the best sister that any brother who has the same set of parents could ever have. Like, it'll be like they will shove it down your throat. They will every sentence that comes out of their mouth will be some kind of recollection of how you are related. It is going to happen without fail. Like, they have
it just happened recently with the return of RJ.
Yes,
hadn't mentioned this kid in
years. And Hope and Thomas made me sick because Hope and Thomas are step siblings, former spouses, they share a child, and they share a brother. So there's a lot happening there. There's a lot of layers to that relationship. And Hope is like, oh my God, our brother is in town? The brother that you and I share? Your father and my mother that they have together? And because of that, he's each of our half siblings, but you and I aren't related? Are you excited to see him? And I'm like, okay, why did you do that? And then Thomas, every time he's in a scene with him and is like, how is my little brother? Hello, little brother. Hello, little half brother by the woman that I
Yeah.
despise, but now I'm okay with her because I'm trying to boink her daughter. Hey there, half brother. And it's like, we get it. we
Yeah.
understand.
And Brooke, after years of not mentioning RJ, oh my goodness, I miss RJ. Where is he? Where's my baby boy?
Yes, yes, yes. It is so strange. So my favorite example of this, and then we can move on, y'all. I'm so sorry. I know, but
You're fine. You're fine.
my favorite example is around the time they had a brother who unalived himself so that he could give his heart to his sister Katie. And
It
so that
happened just
happened
like that.
2008.
No exaggerate.
Huh?
I just saying, like, you didn't exaggerate at all. It happened exactly like that.
Yeah, like he unalived himself specifically so he could give his heart to his sister because he shot her. And she needed a heart transplant. And so very touching scenes. It was, whatever. And so they haven't brought this man up in years. Now, the sister that got the heart, she'll have a heart attack at a moment's notice. Like she can be getting some orange juice and she'll be like, this orange juice has pulp in it. And then next thing you know,
She's falling over.
she's falling and she cannot get up. Like it'll be the most random thing. Like she'll walk outside and be like, they didn't tell me I was gonna need a jacket today. I need a jacket. I need to go back in and get a jacket. And then next thing you know, she's on the ground and somebody needs to come get her. So they hadn't brought him up in years. I mean, like we had literally gone years without hearing his name, even when she was having her heart attacks. And they were getting ready to reveal that he had a daughter. Now, mind you, these people have not talked about this man in years. And one day, they, as a unit, as a collective group, because there are 3 sisters left, sat in a room, air condition off, TV off, radio off, lights off, and they are just sitting in this room like, I sure do miss Stormy. Girl, I was just thinking that this morning. I was eating my oatmeal and I just miss Stormy because when he used to eat oatmeal, he would use a spoon to eat oatmeal. Oh my God, I remember how he would use his spoon. It was a spoon to eat the oatmeal. Oh, every time I touch my chest because of my heart, I think of Stormy. I always have a little piece of Stormy inside of me. Like the drama with which I am recalling this event is how dramatic it was. Like you cut from a scene of somebody being like, I think that my entire family is getting ready to blow up on a yacht. And then you go to them and it's like, I remember when Stormy used to put on clothes when he would go to sleep. And I would tell him, Stormy, why are you wearing all those clothes? He was such a great brother. And I'm like, yeah.
And you know what the wildest thing about that is after all the daughter is revealed and all that was resolved, they haven't mentioned him since.
Nope. Have not brought him back up. Have not brought him back up. Not once.
The father that came back in town.
The daddy who's the same age as Brooke. It's like, y'all, come on, Brody. Like, why are we doing this? I don't know. It frustrates me to no end watching this show.
I'm so mad that they brought him back to yell about Ridge. Like he didn't do the same thing.
And then
but worse.
And it made no sense because he had no real reason to be that upset. It's just like, Brooke is just sitting there. She's like, I turned the air conditioner on this morning. No, Red should have been here so he could turn the air conditioner on for you. It doesn't even make sense. Why would he leave? And it's like, calm down, bruh. It don't even cover all of that. Like they just did that so they could usher him back onto the canvas and have us understand why there should be some sort of tension with him coming back. And then they just completely dropped that. And I'm like, okay.
No, this is literally what happened. 5 seconds after Ridge explained what happened, everyone forgave.
Yeah.
Forgave and forgot.
Yeah. They were just like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. And it's like the past 6 months didn't happen. It was just like, okay, all right. As you were.
You know, I was still trying to catch my breath from that because that was wild.
I mean,
Six
you have me over
months,
here hollering.
and that's another thing why Bold and the Beautiful is the worst is because they can only do one story at a time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so they have the A plot. Okay, this story has happened. The B plot is two or three characters talking about the A story.
Yes.
The C plot is another group of characters talking about the A story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Imagine, if you will, watching a soap opera where you are watching two 65-year-old people have romantic interactions while also being in angst about those romantic interactions. And then you switch to a scene with two 30-year-olds laying in bed who just had mad, passionate intercourse. And they look over at each other and she's like, that was so good. Do you think my mom is going to get back with her husband? Like, literally, that's what happened. Like,
Right. And then you switch over to a scene. It's at a restaurant outside, and there's two characters having lunch talking about, I wonder if so and so and so and so are going to get back together because they have so much chemistry and blah, blah, blah. And like the
mm-hmm.
world isn't the same if they're not together.
Yeah.
And that's the episode. And that goes on for months.
The lady who plays Katie, the one with her brother's heart, she's such a good actress, but I think they don't give her anything to do. So sometimes she overacts, I think, kind of out of boredom. And
Yeah.
everybody is very exposition heavy, like, we're describing. And so, like, she'll get so mad over, like, whatever the A plot is if it involves her sister. Because, like, there's this moment where her sister's husband, who was also her fiance at one point, but that's neither here nor there, where they broke up or whatever, and she's just talking to this man that she's not even dating at this point. She's literally just like in the flirtation stage with him, and he's like, what do you want for dinner? And she's like, if I told you what I want for dinner, you wouldn't believe it. I want my sister to get back with her husband, because why would he do that to her? Why would he leave? And I'm like, y'all are looking at a menu for Pizza Hut. Can you please tell him what you want on your medium pizza y'all are getting for $15.99? Can you please tell him what you want on there? Because I mean, she just went on a tangent. Like, she almost started crying because she wanted them to get back together. And I'm like, what?
Mind you, this is the same sister who her husband cheated on with twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he knocked her 60-year-old sister up. And she was like, I think I'm going through menopause. And the doctor's like, you're not going through menopause, you're pregnant. She's like, hi.
Oh my goodness. Do you know that is exactly what's happening on days right now?
With Nicole.
Uh,
First off, what makes me mad about that is Nicole is okay. Nicole has had fertility issues her entire life. And you're telling me, and I'm not trying to be funny, at this stage in her life cycle, let me shut up, because I'm gonna move into some territory that's gonna be offensive. Let me be quiet.
but you know what makes it worse
What?
is because she was on birth control, and they're trying to come up with the silliest reasons why it didn't work. Said that she might have been a little more stressed than usual, and she said she wasn't. And then I think they might have said that the drug biscuits might have made her ineffective or what. But someone with all these fertility issues got pregnant off of a one night stand.
A one night stand. That part. You are
On
going.
it on the exact same night that her birth control pills may or may not have worked.
Yeah.
Like, be for real.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. It just does. It just feels like a slap in the face. And then, like, the fact that the semen is still fresh, and she's
Right.
like, I had sex with both of them and I didn't know who the baby daddy is. And I'm like, well, girl, you just a day pregnant. Give it a minute.
Not a day.
Right. She doubling over in pain. Talking about she and had to be rushed to the hospital. But has the sperm found the egg?
I'm like, ma'am, come on now. And for her to be acting like she doesn't know what it feels like, let me shut up. Like, because again, I don't know how things work. It's just like for her to be like, I need to go to the hospital now. Like, Nicole, mama, we've been here before. Like, bring it down. Like, they don't, it's like you said, like, I don't remember if that was you or my other friend I was talking to, and y'all were just like, they need to let these characters age, and they don't want to. It's kind of like Nick and Adam on Young and the Restless.
Oh
Nick
my
is
goodness,
50.
yes.
Adam is 47. There is no reason that we should have been doing a who's the daddy storyline. There's no reason.
Right.
Nick is picking out nursing homes. And you're telling me that in the midst of all of that, getting his new chompers and everything else, we doing a who's the daddy storyline. Okay.
Like Nick's pseudo daughter, just had a child, adopted a child.
No, wait a minute.
Actual daughter.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. Did you say his pseudo daughter?
Yeah, Mariah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Summer. I was like, wait a minute.
No, I was about to bring her up because I was about to say his actual daughter, basically adopted a child, took in Kyle's child. And so, even if that was your baby, you need to just leave that one to Adam. You owe him a baby anyway, so.
Mm-hmm. You done took the man's other child. And it's like, I completely forgot about the fact that, like, Mariah is, like, his daughter adjacent. And so, it's like, and Sharon is a grandma now. Like, let these people be grandparents. Like, Phyllis has a granddaughter that is a teenager. Phyllis's granddaughter is almost in college, and they're acting like she's just, this young, fresh, whatever. Lord Jesus, have mercy on my soul, God.
Can you please?
It's frustrating because it's like they want these people to still, like, the storyline that Nick and his brother were in should be the storyline that Nick's son and his whatever Kyle is to him should be. Like, it doesn't. Right. This is. Let me be quiet, because here I go going crazy again for no reason.
And it's dragging on.
Mm-hmm.
Adam and Nick are still going at it over Sally and his baby. And it feels like she's been pregnant for 2 years.
Yes. And then it's like she's been pregnant for 2 years and then 5 minutes at the same time. Like,
yeah, because she's not even showing.
No lie, this woman threw up one time and started cradling her stomach, talking about her future. And I'm like, girl, you're not even in the present yet. And you worried about the future? Like, girl, it just, oh God. She's one of those. Like, I mean, this girl is sitting here. The condom just came off by accident. And she's like, I was craving a burger.
No, but really.
Girl. But anyway, okay, so let's rein it in a little bit, because we got off on a little tangent there. So I guess if we had to
I just said all this to recommend to watch Days of Our Lives.
This is
so what I got from this is it's hopping over down at Days of Our Lives. They're getting it popping down there. What's the name of the city they live in?
Salem.
You said Salem?
Mm-hmm.
They got black people down in Salem?
A couple.
I was gonna say the N-word, but not they got us down there.
Not the N-word. They got a few of them. It's some stragglers.
Yeah.
Okay,
and,
cycle in and out though.
Is it hour-long episodes?
Yeah.
And you can
But
stream it on Peacock.
Peacock. Oh yeah.
Why would
So
you say it like
actually,
that, Caitlin?
because
Why would you say it like that?
because I felt like just in case NBC was listening, I want them to be like, oh, he pronounced the word peacock. People
Really?
know. You're not gonna go to Peacock. You're not going to Peacock. You are Peacock.
Please.
You are
Yeah,
going to
because
www.peacock.com so that you
Make
can watch
sure
Days of
they
Our
don't
Lives.
end up on some other kind of site.
I mean, listen, whatever happens, happens.
yeah,
I will
but because
definitely-
it's on Peacock, the episode ranges anywhere from 30 minutes to 40 something minutes.
Mhm.
Okay. That would
Oh,
be-
Jack A. Harry is on there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
they
because
got
she's
one.
the reason why. Yeah, because she's the reason I started watching.
And she, there's a scene, and I don't know why it tickled me. Y'all know I get caught up on like the way people say things sometimes. And she's like, her daughter, when she was running for like, what was it, Congress, a mayor or congresswoman or something? And her daughter brought her these cookies that were decorated that was supposed to say it said vote for Abe because her husband was originally running. And she's like, no, these cookies will never do. And then
That sounds just like her.
and her daughter is like, what? She's like, well, they say vote for Abe. They need to say vote for Pauline. And I was like, Paulina, whatever name is. And I was like, oh my God.
I love Jack A.
Oh, she's so extra in the funny.
Should have had her as a demon on Charmed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
The
Michael
demon
would show up, showed out.
The demon of chaos.
She would have been like Tawatha's assistant. Yes, I said assistant. She would have been like, so those are the charmed ones. I heard about them once or twice. I didn't never think it was gonna be like that. Like she would be that kind of person. She'd come in and be like, ooh, this is the Alabama manor.
No, because I watched it was this Lifetime movie. She was in it. She played this detective, and she was like, things don't work like that around here in real life. It's just so extra with every line. It was so great.
I love her. I've been doing a sister rewatch just for her.
Mm-hmm.
So like those last 2 or 3 seasons, when it's mostly her doing the heavy lifting, they're the best. She's just comedic gold.
I never remember what it was. I don't really remember like the show as a whole because I watched it, but it's been a long time. And so I just remember there was this one scene or something, and I don't remember what somebody asked her. It was like, what house are you from? And she's like, the International House of Pancake.
House of Pancake. Yes, that's Lisa.
And I never remember like the context of it. I just remember that line, and
she's so. That video I post of her doing the bankhead bounce. Why was she dancing like that at that party? What are you doing? She said, the bankhead bounce. Dwayne just taught it to me. Please. Like it's a good comfort watch on like a rough day.
Yeah.
She will make you holler for 30 minutes.
Oh, she is such a treasure.
She trolled me on Twitter, but I'll talk about it another day.
Oh, we're gonna have to hear that story. We're going to have
She
to
sent her minions after me, but it's all good. It's all good.
Not the minions, just
It's all good. I still love her.
I listen, she's perfect for soap operas. I don't know why it didn't happen sooner, but I'm glad she's here.
And I think it works so well because she kind of stands out because most of the people that she hangs around with on days are like so down to earth and muted.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a welcome contrast.
Except for Julie.
Oh yeah. That's it. Paulina had me ready to go to war with Julie at first.
Oh God. Julie is funny though, because Julie is one of those people that I don't quite understand why they decided to go the route of trying to look through the lens of racism with her. I'm not quite sure who decided that, but Julie has always been funny. Like there was this scene from way back in the cut when Hope was going through the whole Princess Xena thing, and Julie was like, "Our mother did not." sacrifice her life for this so you could be. And I'm like, Julie, was that necessary? Like, I understand that you're trying to snap out of this, but you need to bring it back some, because right now you at a 10 and we need you to be at about a 6. But Julie's always at a 10. That's just who Julie is.
Yeah. Even when she was fighting the devil. I think that's what won me over.
Baby, listen, if you think Julie Olsen Williams was going to be scared of the devil,
she pulled out her rosary and went to work.
Baby, because that 75-year-old woman said, "You gonna get out of my 90-year-old husband. I know that.
You have no power here."
Okay. She said, "You better go pay your bill because your lights are out."
And speaking of which, Devil Doug was so fun. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that they let him do that, because when he said he locked that beat up in the freezer on purpose, I wanted to hand him the Emmy right then and there.
Just give it to Doug. Just give it.
Because that was the line of the year.
Listen, so a little not a backstory, but I'm just gonna give this little snippet on Doug and Julie, or as Hope, the lady that plays Hope, is from Boston, and so she has a really thick Boston accent sometimes. And my mama was the one that pointed it out to me, and I swear to you, after she said it, I laughed. I have literally said that like almost every day for the past however many years since she told me, because she would say Dizzy and Julie, because she kind of talked through her nose, and she'd be like, "I have to talk to Dizzy and Julie," and she would try to say it real quick so it made sense. So Julie, okay, Doug was married to Julie's mama, and then Julie and Doug got married, and Hope is Doug's daughter with Julie's mama, so that's her half sister, but she basically raised her as her stepdaughter.
Yeah, because Hope's children calls Julie grandma.
But then sometimes they'll say Aunt Julie, sometimes they'll say Grandma Julie, sometimes they just say Julie. They're like, "Baby, listen, I ain't got time to be thinking about connections." And
that's another thing with soaps. Sometimes they call each other aunt, uncle, cousin. Sometimes they don't. You just never really know. Sometimes they call your mom and dad. Sometimes they call you by your real name.
and I think it's because sometimes they have so many ties to each other, and then especially depending on like their ages, it wouldn't make sense for them to be like aunt whatever, if that makes any sense. So like so like Abby and Summer on Young and the Restless were for a good chunk of time around the same age, maybe not the same age, but they were around the same age, and now they kind of still are, but Summer has never said Aunt Abby. She's always just called her Abby.
You know what? When you brought up Abby and Summer, I just remembered that Abby was her aunt.
Because they never share scenes together. They even when Abby cheated, even when Summer's husband who died cheated on her with Abby, it was like Nick was like, "How could you do this to your own flesh and blood?" But if you hadn't watched the show, you wouldn't know what he meant by that. Like you wouldn't know if that was his other daughter. You wouldn't know if that was his cousin. You wouldn't know because they didn't say it. And she like never really like was like, "You're my aunt. How could you do this?" She was just like, "We're family." Like it would just be generic like that. But because they're so close in age, you would be forgiven for thinking that they're sisters, maybe. Because
especially because they look similar.
Abby
I was trying to see, has Abby interacted with the new Summer at all?
That's a good question. If she has, it was briefly in like a group setting. It wasn't anything that was one-on-one.
Right.
That I can recall. Have Ashley and Summer ever interacted before?
Yeah, because maybe not one-on-one, but I think they have been in scenes, especially lately, with the Diane stuff and
Mhm.
Ashley's, because they're all living in the Abbott house.
Yeah, that is true. There's like 7 people living in the Abbott mansion right now.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Abby, she was living in the Chancellor Mansion, which there's no set of, or maybe one set that they bring out every now and then. And now she's living with the Bond, so she's been isolated from
Mm-hmm.
both her families.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because even lately, her storylines have revolved around the Bond.
Yeah, and that little half-breed bastard baby. So,
Yeah.
well, speaking of half-breed bastard babies, bringing it back to Charmed.
You know what?
So yeah, we gotta bring it back some kind of way. We gotta.
Yeah. What a great transition back.
That was a masterful transition. If there is any kind of like award that can be won, I would get it because baby, that was
good.
masterful.
That was a good one.
That was a good
Honey,
one.
listen. Listen. I wanted to say what that man said so bad in X-Men because when I watched X-Men First Class, the black guy, Derwin, whatever his name was, and he had that power where he could like adapt himself to whatever. And I swear to God, I remember him saying it just like adapt to survive. Like, my power is I adapt to survive. Because I always remember thinking like he was supposed to be like some jive turkey or something like that. Because the movie took place in like the 60s or whatever. And I was like, why did he say that like that? But anyway, that's the story for a different day because I'm starting to try to get into some of the Marvel content, and I think that's gonna have to be something we devote some time to because I watched the first episode of WandaVision, and when I tell you it was given very much segregation, it was given.
Please. Please. It was I almost got myself in trouble. I almost said something I wasn't supposed to say.
Well, y'all, I got a question. Do y'all wanna wrap this up? What y'all wanna do? How we feeling? We feeling like we had a good, well-rounded discussion?
I
Yeah,
think so. Only thing we
because
probably didn't touch on was like what the ending of the episode, maybe.
So, with the end of the episode, y'all, what did y'all think about the end scene with Jeremy coming to the house and them fighting and everything that happened? What were y'all's thoughts about that?
I love how Prue like showed how protective she was. Like she sent her sisters upstairs to where she assumed was safety, while she held Jeremy off. That's big sister, Mama Bear.
Immediately, she was like,
And
Piper, you can
action.
go.
Yeah, like they talked about it like throughout the episode, where there we saw it come together, like the true climax of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of also showed us that in that, like, we saw the beginning of the fact that Prue immediately was going to be willing to just try to handle it by herself. Like, she was immediately like, I'm big sister. This is what I've always done. And you kind of see them, although they say they don't want her as a mom, you see them kind of go when she sends them away, don't they?
Right, yeah.
So,
because
like,
what I found so interesting about that is like when she said go, they went. There was no, but Prue, what about you? There was no, but we don't want to leave you here. No, she said go and they left. And that
they
was
left her.
They ran. They said, baby, listen,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to figure this out on your own because we don't know what to tell you. And it's interesting because, like I said, jumping ahead a little bit, season 3 with the Balthazar thing when they didn't have any powers, and Prue's like, y'all run and I'll hold them off. And they're like, no, we're in this together. And that's just such, I think it really went to show how they had grown in their sisterhood. And I know a lot of people like to say that, Prue needed to die because Piper couldn't grow if she was there and whatever else. But I think that scene more than any other one showed that even though they may not have been on the same level as far as like carrying magical weight, they were on the same level in terms of their magical ability. Like, even though Piper didn't want to do it, she was capable. And
Right.
she didn't want to leave Prue in that moment. She wasn't just going to run away. She's not season 1 Piper who's going to run because, I don't want to be here. I'm not doing this. And the same thing with Phoebe, who's not just the little sister anymore. Now she's her own person. She's her own witch. And, this is her
sister. She's a grown-up.
And she's a grown-up, and she understands, like, this is more than just the person who helped raise me. This is my sister.
Right. And Prue had finally gone from mom to sister.
Yes, that is exactly it. That is exactly.
Kind of see it in the episode with Abraxas, where they're kind of like coming at her because she's not fighting him and she's not stopping him, as if y'all not here with me. So by season 3, you do see them, all of them, kind of be like, okay, listen, we're not going to leave you. Because for a while, it would be like, we don't really want her as our mom. We want her as a sister. And then when the ish hit the fan, Prue, do something.
Yeah. Right. Because it was always, especially in the first season, it was always, oh, did you ask Prue? Or Prue, yell at her. Like, but she was very much the authoritative figure.
Yeah.
Authoritative figure. I don't know why I said authoritative. But
yeah, absolutely right.
And I kind of like the fact that although Prue really wasn't feeling being a witch at first, when it came down to it, when it was time to fight, she didn't run away.
Yeah.
Right.
But she could have been like, I don't want to do this either. She stood in what I guess her role had always been. Like, even though she didn't want to do it, you couldn't tell. Like, she was immediately willing to throw herself down and do what she thought she could. Now, those little head nods that she was doing, they were kind of sending me. They had my girl twisting her neck hard as hell, and he was barely moving.
He stumbled back. He just lost his footing a little bit. That was it.
Yeah, and I think that has to go to her being raised, with like all the responsibilities that she had, like that she had to commit to, and so like when she got a new responsibility, like her instinct is to commit to it and go at it 100%.
And then I think it is kind of like how we've been pointing out, at certain times with Piper, like she kind of had to be a witch because her sisters were, and they couldn't do it without her. I kind of think it was the same thing for Prue, where it was like, I don't necessarily want to do this, but I know if it means protecting them, then I have to go full steam ahead. Like, I'm not just gonna leave them looking stupid.
Because had it been one of us, I'm not saying I would have left looking stupid, but at first I'd have been like, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm getting up out of here.
I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. And I mean this with my entire heart. Okay. I love y'all to death. I would take a bullet for you one time. And if you tell me that on a consistent basis, our group survival hinges on me fighting demons every day, I'm gonna tell you right now,
get somebody else to do it.
Baby. Who can I get these powers to? Because if I give my power to one of y'all, does that mean y'all will still be able to use the power 3? Because if y'all waiting on me, it might not happen. My knees bad, my back bad.
Listen, my sciatica's acting up. So I can't help you today.
Well, I would have already relinquished my powers.
That part.
If you gave me a choice, don't even give them to me. You can just keep them.
Baby, I would have gave them powers up. I would have sold that house to the highest bidder, and I would have left. That would have been around.
When they gave it to Rex and Hannah, they could have had them. Take them.
That's it. Take them. I'm good. But I always did wonder, like, what if they had relinquished their powers and just left? Like, would evil have still been able to find them? Like, are they still on the map, or is it tied to the magic? Because
I think it's tied to the magic, because that was the thing. Part of the premise was, as long as they didn't have their powers, the demons wouldn't come after them. And then, like, the Angel of Destiny, at the end of season 4, told them that if they gave up their powers, then the demons wouldn't come after them.
Yeah. Because it makes me wonder if, like, mortals, quote unquote, are, over the Nexus if the Nexus becomes dormant. Like if they had given up their powers and
I see what you mean.
lived in that house, like would the Nexus have been like, okay, no magic, let me calm myself down?
I don't think it would have become dormant, but I think since good magic is not over it, then I think it would be easier for evil to get to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is true. That is true. Because it's just kind of like a, sit and duck at that point.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. Because baby Grams, I know Grams was protecting that Nexus better than she was protecting them girls, okay? And she said, if you think I'm gonna save any innocents, now I can get behind Grams. Grams ain't saved not one innocent that we know.
And at some point, I want to talk about later on, we never hear about the Source stepping foot in Penny's house.
Never.
He had to wait until her grandchildren came around.
Yeah. He never came up in there. He said, listen, I know how far to go, and I know this ain't what I want.
And didn't come in there while Prue was alive.
When you think about it, he really didn't.
No, he didn't. He had never been in that man. But then it's so funny because like in season 4, he came in the manor in like what? Part 2 of Charmed Again?
Yep.
Like, I mean, immediately after Prue died, he was like, all right.
Now's my turn. Because look what happened when Cole showed up to her house unannounced, uninvited.
Prue threw that man like you wouldn't believe. I broke the table. She didn't even care about that table.
When a girl goes, when she turned around and looked at him, it was like, you have the audacity to come and ring my doorbell and walk inside. She actually looked offended at first, like, I know he's not serious.
Like, cause he don't pay now bill around here.
Don't nobody
none of these people do.
Listen, I'm the only one in here paying bills.
Okay. And listen.
It always fascinated me that you don't really hear a lot of stories about the Source going up against Penny. I guess he said, you know what? Even I know my limits.
And you know what's funny is like, and this is what I love about the later seasons, but it's also funny in the context of what we're talking about, because like in later seasons they would say, oh, a demon attack, but we would see the demon attack, whereas in the earlier seasons they would talk about demons attacking, but it would just kind of be like, well, they said one did, we don't know for sure if it did, they just said it did. And then like it was one point where Piper was like, it's been like a month since the last demon attack. And I was like, what you mean a month? It's been a month since y'all last got attacked. And then later seasons, baby, we turn around, we turn the lights on. Literally, we turn the lights on, demon attack.
Because they would have to drive across town to fight demons.
The demons say, you know what? We're gonna come to your club, we're gonna come to your job. We're gonna come to the office.
Like no place to stay.
Good old boy attacked Phoebe in the shoe store. I actually and then Piper in the parking lot. It kind of tickled me because nobody saw this.
Nobody. And then remember when Piper hit it, like there was no one outside. And then Phoebe was in a mall and it was like the store was completely empty. And I'm like, girl, I know you can't be in that high end of a store. You got to be in Payless. There's no way.
Was that an episode that Shannon directed? Because we didn't see the demon attack Prue, and I kind of felt a way about that.
No, this was the pre-witch episode.
Okay, I was thinking about the one where he attacked Phoebe in the shoe store. She was trying on shoes.
Yeah, that's pre-witch.
Pre-witch.
Okay.
Yeah, but Prue did, and she was. And Piper was,
Yeah, we didn't see Prue get attacked.
We didn't see Prue's attack, and I kind of wanted to see it.
But you know what's so funny? Piper was so excited to tell them that she vanquished the demon. And I don't know why that's so tickling me to think about. But Piper was like, guess what I did today, y'all? Guess what I did today? And it was like, girl, okay, anyway, we all vanquished her.
I was going to say, because, she never really did.
Because I'm racking my brain and trying to figure out if Piper had vanquished a demon by herself before, or a warlock.
she almost vanquished her sister when she blew up that bookshelf case thing.
Per.
Almost took Prue out of here.
I don't.
Right
Oh,
again.
but even that was after.
Yeah. I don't recall a time where Piper vanquished the demon on her own. I don't recall. Not to say it hadn't happened, it didn't happen, but I don't remember a time. I remember in Apocalypse Not when she went running after the that horseman, and I didn't understand what she was gonna do.
She was booking it, but running very fast, but slow at the same time.
Because what was she gonna do when she got there? It was like, okay, you see that your power does not work against him, and so your natural instinct is, in that moment of all moments, let me run after him.
Well, that kind of tracks though, because she kept trying to freeze the dude that she said couldn't be frozen anymore in the courtroom. So
that is true.
My girl
you know,
was like,
kind of
try again. She said like that.
She was like, I'm sick of playing with you, girl. Come on now.
No, but Prue and Phoebe were fed up with her, especially after she had been gone that month too. They was fed up. You gonna freeze these folks today?
Phoebe was about to tap that ass.
And Prue should have let her.
You know it's bad when Prue was like, I think we should leave her alone, Phoebe. That's bad.
When Prue's like, let her be. I don't know why I always make Prue sound like Batman, but for some reason in my mind, whenever I think of Prue's voice, I always do Batman, and I don't know why, but it just always comes out like that. Like she's gonna be like, I am the night.
One thing we got to touch on at some point is the fact that their powers really grew the most when she was coaching them. Like Piper's powers would not have grown to where they were unless Prue was like, have you ever thought about just unfreezing his head?
Right.
I never thought about that. Oh,
why don't you just freeze the innocent?
Phoebe was a little bit more autonomous because when they were running around like chickens with their head cut off looking for Piper's ticket, and Phoebe in classic youngest sibling fashion had that ticket and was like blocking them out. She was calling, like she was practicing the premonition, and then she was so petty because she was like, bad news is I did see you missing your flight. And I'm like, because of you. She's missing the flight because of you. So
but can you imagine how fast Prue was speeding to get Piper on that flight that she was supposed to have missed?
Oh, I know some magic was used that day. I don't care what nobody say. They were using magic to get that woman there. There is no way they didn't.
She said personal gain be damned. She getting on this flight.
Prue was used to hold that flight back.
I still really wish, because like when Piper was training Paige in the beginning, it was good for like that one episode she trained her. But I would have liked to have seen like Prue actually train her, because I feel like we would have gotten, by the end of the series, we would have gotten to a place where she wouldn't have needed to call for stuff.
Oh yeah.
She probably would have been like orb cloning at that point.
Paige would have been using regular telekinesis. Like when I tell you, she would have just been like, girl, I don't need to orb nothing. Let me just fling you real quick. Like
she lost her voice. They like, in what world could they orb through her?
That was the perfect setup for her to not have to call for anything anymore. But I told y'all before, I of course Prue's arm fling is iconic, but I wish that it hadn't lasted the entire time. Like what I loved about seeing Grams use her power was it was always very intentional. She wasn't just flinging her arm and then something was happening. She was pointing where she wanted you to go. Except for that time when they went back in the 60s and she was doing all them extra hand movements that had nothing to do with what was going on. That was a little extra.
when she was just doing all kind of hand stuff.
Just doing stuff. Just doing stuff. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? You are just being extra right now for no reason other than you woke up this morning.
I like the what she did with the what's the guy? I can't think. I'm drawing a blank. When she came back for Wyatt's christening.
Oh, the necromancer.
She did with her arms. And she put it up to her neck. I said, "Oh, okay."
She put them up to her neck, and then she and then she crossed the arms up. And I was like,
all that.
It was given when the Power Rangers morph, and it takes them like 30 minutes to morph.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Like, what are we doing?
Killed you. The time you could have put your arms up to your neck, you could have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was able to use his magic on him in the amount of time it took her to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
exactly.
Where did that come from? Because she don't have to do all that.
She doesn't. And it's like just the theatrics of it was so, but that was so Graham. So like
Remember
just
she threw, was it Victor? When she threw him, she didn't have to fling her arm. She just actually put her arm up.
Yeah.
And she didn't have to like fling it like a mad woman.
When she threw Nicholas in that 70s episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. She put her arm up and he went back. And it wasn't just like a stumble. He went back. He broke the table. And
we can't just lifted up her arms.
We can't forget the iconic Warlock Be Gone.
Be gone, baby.
The only person to kick my girl out of her home.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Had them going on an intricate path.
I mean, they went from room to room at an angle. They slid to the left, then the right, then up.
Mm-hmm. And then she closed the door behind them.
Sure did.
Have we ever discussed the fact that, like, in that same episode, in that same scene, Phoebe and Prue were like down that WWE fighting Nicholas? Like, Prue picked up a chair and hit him over the head with it. Like, what?
But also, young Prue and Piper, their powers were really, really advanced.
Baby, when Miss Piper put their head to the side and unfroze Andy like it was nothing, I said, oh my God.
And like, we were talking about the fact that like Grams was able to undo their magic.
Yeah. Yep. She was like, you won't remember a thing. I was like, girl, okay. I said, come on now, mastery of the power.
Yeah. I always knew I would deliver the charm ones.
Child, and it just
everyone looked at her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I did all the work anyway, so
I mean, I did. These are my children, really. Me and Prue.
Because your mama was swimming in lakes and waterfalls.
Okay. She was sticking to the rivers and the lakes that she's used to.
Once again, an episode that like her death actually really made no sense. She didn't have to die.
Well, you know, my thing is Sam killed her because
she committed suicide. I said she hated her family, so she got herself killed on purpose.
When Sam came running down there, screaming at this woman at the top of his lungs, Nick, sir, listen, you are already dead. Why are we playing this game? Why are we doing this? You could have orbed her. You could have gone down there and you could have orbed her out of the way, or pushed her, and then you just let the water demon hit you. But instead, he said, "Let me distract her real quick," because clearly she doesn't know why she's down there. She's just down there to be there, and that's
why Prue killed him.
And Prue murdered that man like it was nobody's business. Because when he said now, and she lit him up real quick, and then she was like, I wonder why he said now.
I was going to say, she probably wasn't even waiting for it now. She just wanted to do it.
Yeah, she just wanted to do it. She probably didn't even know what he was talking about. She was just ready to do it, and then she was like, I wonder why he said now. What was he talking about? Also, when she looked at that man dead in his face as he was fading and said, "Tell her hi for me." It's like, I see why the source says say hello to Prue for me, baby, because my God.
My favorite scene that episode is when Phoebe could not get them kids to quiet down. Prue came in there and was like, and they all shut right up. It's just the authoritative figure that she was.
Prue was like, I'm not going to play with these chaps.
I'm gonna do them like I did you. Shut up.
Shut up and hush.
That's exactly what they did.
That was wrong thing, because that was the season where they really weren't. Well, I was supposed to say they weren't wearing no bras, but that's probably inappropriate. But I just couldn't understand why nobody had a bra on at work, at home, at camp, just anywhere.
Piper was the only one who wore bras that season. She was the only one who at any point was like, you know what, let me keep my little egg drops in a little. So she everybody else was like, girl, anyway. Prue was like, I'm not working at Buckland's no more. Even when she was working, she
was at Buckland, just
go.
you could almost see her areolas.
Yeah.
It did have her stomach all out.
Her midriff.
So just showing everything.
She was showing midriff. She was wearing them coochie cutter shorts and everything. I was like,
top she had on, was it red? I think, and it had like low cut above her chest, and her whole stomach was out. I think that was the day she quit. I think maybe.
I think so. Yeah. Yep.
Like, why would you go in there with that?
And then she had a nerve to have a long sweater on, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Because right now this is not making any sense to me. Well, y'all.
The only other thing that I just want to also add was at the end where my girl shut the door. You know, that became the charm staple.
Yes.
Oh yes.
She literally set the standard. She set the standard and said everything that happens after here, this is just a replication of me, baby. I'm sorry to tell you.
And I love that they because they didn't do it every season, did they?
It was a different form of it. So she did it the first season. She did it the second season. The third season was Shaq's. The fourth season was the Angel of Destiny. The fifth season was Chris. The sixth season was the Hospital Doors. The seventh season, it just closed on its own, but it was implied that it was Prue. And in the eighth season, it was the little girl that was her granddaughter.
And I was missing the Hospital Door one. That's the one I always forget about.
Mm-hmm. That's the only one that was not the door.
My girl being the standard one more time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also I don't know, did we mention how when she read the spell from the book, the picture changed?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the picture changed?
No, we didn't. Yeah. When Piper and Phoebe moved closer to Prue.
The picture. It moved them closer together when
Phoebe, yeah. When they first got the powers, and then it magically moved them closer together. Yeah, because that was supposed to show us that they were metaphorically closer than they were before. Yeah.
And I got the concept, but I just always thought that it was kind of unnecessary.
Well, it was such a random thing.
But you know why it was so unnecessary? Because they never acknowledged it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if they know that it changed.
No, because they had that scene where she said nothing's changed, and they panned to the picture changed, and they never actually even noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like they interacted with that picture later in the series, and like they probably don't even know it's different. Yeah.
But then when they showed them actually taking the picture in Pre-Witch, didn't it kind of go back to the way it was before?
It did. It like reset itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the scene switched back to the present time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It one more bone to gripe, and I hate that we couldn't even. It was as if she never even existed. All the photos of her were gone. It was as if Paige was always there in all those photos.
Yeah, and like I get why, because they couldn't use that image, but we could have gotten pictures of Little Prue.
Something.
I think they could have put the pictures of Little Prue up. I could have even seen them saying Piper was just so hurt and she went on like a little whatever, and she just took all the pictures of Prue down because it hurt too much to look at them, and then just like not acknowledge it anymore after that, but give a reason why there aren't any pictures, and then we just go from there.
Or like show her like taking them down, putting them in a box and putting them up somewhere, never to look at them again. And I get like y'all couldn't just pay to have one picture of her, one. It when they walk up the stairs at the end, and it's as if Paige was always there. I mean, I'm happy she's there because she ain't on the family tree. But where is my girl at in here anywhere?
Exactly.
Is it still her house?
Like, I mean, they didn't have no pictures. They didn't have no nothing up. They could have had, and then they had the nerve to put the picture up of Patty with Piper when she was little. That was in Wyatt's baby book.
No pictures of. I'm like, did I don't even remember them really even talking to Wyatt and Chris about Prue.
I don't think Chris ever brought Prue up.
No, I don't think he did.
I don't think.
There's some fan canon out there that Chris is actually like supposed to be Prue's son, and I don't think so.
No, that's a little too far. That's a little too far.
That's a little too far. I do feel sad that we got robbed of seeing her be an aunt. She would have been like Piper never would have had to leave the house because Prue would have been the one down at the demon market going the hell off.
Baby Prue would have been throwing them folks left and right, here to yonder.
Please.
It would have been crazy.
I guess we hit everything.
I do believe we did. I do think we did. So
you gotta do your outro.
Oh yeah. Okay, wait. Well, y'all, I think we hit every point that we were trying to hit. I think we talked about everything that we want to talk about. So until next time, y'all be good. And remember this: vanquishing demons is only a sport if you're good at it. Boom. Okay, there we go.
Boom. Boom.